like she said, my name's Angela, and I'm a nurse practitioner, and I run a wellness clinic in Shelbyville. And I'm basically going to give you my first appointment when I first meet people that come to see me for weight loss. I love to talk about weight from an insulin perspective. How many of you all know what insulin does? A couple of you? Okay. I recognize some of you. This is going to be a lot of the same talk. Has anybody been fasting since? How's that going? How's it going? Good. Is it helping? Yeah. Good, good. Insulin is the insulating hormone. It is a hormone that you release. It's actually a peptide that you release in response to a sugar or a carbohydrate being in the bloodstream. It pulls that molecule from the bloodstream into fat cells for storage later. That's its sole purpose. So type 1 diabetics, the kids that get diabetes, one of the first symptoms that they have is they'll lose 20 pounds in a month. People think they're dying, and they are, and they take them to the hospital and their blood sugar is 800, and that's because they quit making insulin. So those diabetics tend to be very, very skinny and very frail. Mary Tyler Moore is my example. That's why she was so tiny. It's because she was type 1 diabetic. Type 2 diabetes is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. You have hormone receptors all over your body that are like light sockets. The hormone is the plug. When the plug plugs in, the light comes on of whatever that hormone's supposed to do. Type 2 diabetes is where you have so much insulin in your bloodstream, it doesn't have anywhere to plug in and work anymore. So you continue to eat sugar, you continue to make insulin, you continue to release it, it just doesn't have anywhere to plug in and work. And so they say you're less insulin sensitive, but essentially you're insulin overloaded. And that's why those patients tend to be more overweight. They struggle with their weight because they always have insulin in their bloodstream. They're always pulling to fat stores. That is why I love intermittent fasting. I love fasting because it doesn't cost you any money to do it. You don't have to buy any special food. There's no diet plan. I think it is something that we were created to do. It's a part of every major religion out there, from Buddhism to Christianity. And I think it is a great tool that you can use to help you maintain your weight once you get once you lose some. Intermittent fasting says that you have insulin in your bloodstream for 12 hours after you eat, regardless of what you eat. So if you can fast past 12 hours, your insulin levels will fall and your body will begin to pull from fat stores for energy use. So I recommend a 16-hour fast, and then you would have an 8-hour window in which you eat your meals. And I really only recommend it 5 days a week, 4 to 5 days a week. You don't have to do it every day. So what that looks like for most people, you stop calories at 7 o'clock at night. By 7 in the morning, you've been 12 hours. You're going to continue to fast until 11. And so your eating window would be from 11 to 7. You can do 10 to 6. You can do 1 to 9. You can change it day to day, as long as you're getting that 16-hour fast in. And what that does is that gives you 4 hours that you're pulling from fat stores. On the fast, we're fasting from insulin, not just food. So it's much more than skipping breakfast. On the fast, I really don't recommend having any calories whatsoever. So the only things that you can have on a true fast: water, black coffee, unsweet tea. You can do a squeeze of real lemon in your water or your tea, but that's really it. Where people get messed up on fasting is they're still putting creamer in their coffee. Creamer in your coffee spikes your blood sugar, number one, which breaks your fast. Number two, most of the time it's junk coffee. It's got a lot of sugar in it. And so what you're doing is you're spiking your blood sugar, and there's no protein to stabilize the blood sugar. So insulin will go and it will pull your blood sugar down very quickly. And that drastic change in your blood sugar is what makes you shaky. That's what gives you headaches. And that's what makes you hungry, because you have to eat to get your blood sugar out of the toilet that insulin just dumped it in. Okay? Does that make sense? So no creamer in your coffee. The other thing that I would love for you to cut out of your diet completely, but definitely not on the fast, is artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners like Sweet and Low, Splenda, Equal, those are sugar molecules that are coated in a toxin that your body cannot process. So even though they're 0 calorie, they still spike your insulin, which is why we see obese people drinking Diet Coke all the time and they never lose any weight, okay? I personally believe that you were created to process sugar. There is no shortcut Take responsibility for what you're putting in your body, and if you're going to have a Coke, have a real Coke. And when we're talking about sodas, back when sodas were created, they were created for medicinal use, and they were created as a treat. You had to go to the soda shop and have a soda jerk make it for you. It wasn't something that was designed to be drunk all day long, okay? So that's another thing that I would encourage you to do, is start treating your sodas as a treat. They're not something that's designed to be drunk all day. People ask about stevia, monk fruit, those types of natural 0-calorie sweeteners. I'm okay with you using those, just not on the fast, all right? Keep those in your feasting window. Any questions on the fast? I find that really interesting, and studies will show that sugar is very inflammatory. And so if you have a condition like arthritis or lupus or any type of autoimmune disorder, fasting is very beneficial from that perspective because you're lowering those sugar levels and you're not causing that inflammation. So in your feasting window, when it's time for you to eat, I just want you to focus on whole foods. If God made it, you can eat it. Fruits, veggies, meats, and dairy. I don't care if you have a baked potato every night for dinner. You can put butter, sour cream, bacon, cheese, all of those are whole foods. You would never eat more than 1 baked potato in a sitting, but you can eat 5 in a bag of potato chips and still go back for more, right? Yes, yes. You cannot overeat red meat and broccoli. You will get full. You will get sick. But you can go for refills on your popcorn at the movie theater because that's the way it was created for you to do. So if you stick to a whole foods diet, even if you're not able to fast due to diabetes or due to having to take medication, even if you go on a whole foods diet, you will lose weight. In terms of breads and pastas are highly processed. If you love bread, make it yourself, because when you make it yourself, it goes bad in 4 days compared to the 3 and 4 week shelf life we have on our breads. Same thing with pasta. That's why Italians can eat pasta every day. It's because they make it fresh every day with eggs and flour. There is nothing beneficial to boxed pasta, and I don't care if it's whole wheat, chickpea, protein, any of that. Now, I know you're going to have bread. I know you're going to have pasta. I have a teenager at home. I make spaghetti on occasion. But I want it to be rare, and I really want you to enjoy it because you don't get it often. It should be a treat, okay? Rice is a whole grain. It's a whole food. You can do rice. I don't want enriched, bleached, white Uncle Ben's. Bleh. I want brown rice, arborio rice, jasmine rice, basmati rice. So real rice that you have to cook on the stove. I really don't care about calories. I don't think counting calories is a great method to lose weight, honestly. I don't care about your carbs. I do care about your protein. Muscle burns fat at rest. The more muscle you have, the more fat you burn. That's why bodybuilders can eat 5,000 calories a day, because they have all that muscle on board. When patients go on phentermine or when patients go on diets and basically induce an anorexic lifestyle for a period and stop eating, they may lose 20 pounds in a month, but the majority of what they've lost is muscle mass, because your body will break down muscle for energy before it will fat. Fat's designed to keep you alive in a drought. It's a last resort. So when patients do that, they lose mostly muscle mass, which is why you regain the weight super quickly when you come off of that diet. You were created to eat, and I don't want you to go tell your doctor that I told you to stop eating. That's not what I'm telling you. You were created to eat. It's very important. Protein prevents your body from breaking down muscle for energy. So it's very, very important. I recommend 80 grams of protein in your diet a day as a minimum. So if you, and really that's meat with every meal. If you're doing 2 meals a day, if you have a piece of meat with your meal, steak, chicken, fish, ground beef, pork, the size of your palm is going to give you about 30 grams of protein. So if you do meat with both of your meals, you'll get 60. You can do a larger piece of meat. You can do a second piece of meat. You can eat meat till the cows come home. It's good for you. Eggs are a perfect protein. There are only 7 grams of protein per egg. So if you're going to have breakfast for dinner one night, I do recommend 3. People ask me, does it need to be egg whites? I think God created the egg to grow a baby chicken. It's like, it's his multivitamin gift to you. So use the yolk. It's good for you. It's got good nutrients and choline and all kinds of good things in it. So eggs, Greek yogurt. I would love for you to eat Greek yogurt the way Greeks eat it, which is plain with honey and fruit. But if you have to have some flavoring in there, that's fine. Cottage cheese is wonderful. Peanuts, almonds, quinoa, beans, lentils, hummus, chickpeas, all of those are great sources of protein. People ask about protein shakes all the time, and I'm okay with protein shakes, but do you feel more satisfied after a steak or after a shake? They're both 30 grams of protein, but the amino acid profile is very, very different, and you will feel more full and satiated with meat. So if you're going to use a protein shake, it needs to be to supplement your meat, not as a replacement, okay? Red meat is the only thing that will give you all 9 essential vitamins and nutrients. Ground beef is your best source of collagen. How many of y'all are on collagen? Anybody on collagen? Yeah, it's good for you. Collagen is not a full protein. It does not need to count towards your protein count. But ground beef is your best source of collagen. So I don't recommend cutting out red meat unless you are allergic to it and you can't use it or anything like that. Any questions on how to eat? Okay, lastly, I think it is really important that your body gets a break from fasting. We were created as hunter-gatherers to go out and kill and bring home and eat. So when your insulin levels are low, you'll actually have this rise in cortisol. Cortisol is why you feel that increased energy, that increased focus. Cortisol is designed to give you the energy to go outside of your cave, face your fears, kill them, and bring them back home to eat, okay? But cortisol is also the starvation hormone that will hang on to everything you do eat because you don't know where your next meal is coming from. So having at least one day a week that you sit down and you enjoy a whole foods breakfast, eggs, bacon, sausage, yogurt, it's going to lower those cortisol levels, get you ready for the rest of the week. You can do 2 days a week, 3 days a week that you eat breakfast. I'm going to leave that up to you, but that way you get a break. And so if you wake up one morning and you're ready to kill somebody for breakfast, you can have some breakfast, okay? I think your body needs a refeed time, and so that's why I recommend getting a break at least once a week. I don't think you need to fast on vacation. Vacations are rare. I want you to enjoy your vacation. I think that you need to enjoy a piece of wedding cake at a wedding. I think you need to enjoy your birthday. Those are not necessarily days that you need to be fasting. I think your body needs that refeed time. Okay, exercise. You cannot out-exercise a bad diet. You have to fix the diet first. But exercise is very important. Studies show that people that have gastric bypass or gastric sleeve surgeries, 60% of them will regain their weight unless they institute exercise. And when they institute exercise, that reduces that number down to 12%. Very, very important. The best exercise is the one you like to do. So if you hate running, I'm not going to tell you to go out and run 3 days a week because you're going to hate it. Exercise should be something that is enjoyable, that you look forward to, and that you feel great after you do. Walking is one of the best things that you can do for exercise. A 10-minute walk after a meal reduces your insulin by 30%. So even if you don't fast, if you take a 10-minute walk after all 3 of your meals, you'll get a 30-minute exercise block in every day, and you're reducing your insulin by 30%. You will lose weight. So walking is great. Walking on a fast when you're already pulling from fat stores, that's a holy grail right there. That's perfect. Obviously, we've talked about how important muscle is, and so if you have an opportunity to go to a class or to go to a physical therapist or anything like that that can show you great ways to build muscle, strength train. In terms of weight, muscle weighs more than fat. So if you start strength training, you may not lose weight, but you could lose inches. And that's the most important measurement. That's the one that we care about, okay? I think fasting is very good for diabetes. There's a great book that I recommend every time I come called The Obesity Code. Have you read The Obesity Code? It's by Dr. Jason Fung. Dr. Fung is a kidney doctor in Canada. He said, I got tired of my patients coming to see me to die. He was like, they're sick, they got diabetes, we give them insulin, they get worse, I put them on dialysis, nobody ever gets better. He puts his patients on 20-day fasts, 20 and 30-day fasts. And he's pulling them off their blood pressure medications, he's pulling them off their statins. So again, we're finding that when your body isn't having to process food, it has time to clean out hormone receptors and really get rid of bad cells.
They don't eat for 20 days?
They don't eat for 20 days. The longest documented fast was, I think, in the 1930s, and a man went it was over a year. It was like 360 days on just vitamins and water. He was over 300 pounds and he dropped down to 170 and he never regained his weight. So I think fasting is very good for you, but there are circumstances in which people can't do fasting, which is why I wanted to talk to you about whole foods, swapping to a whole foods diet, taking a walk after your meals, because when your body is using the sugar that you just took in, it doesn't have to release the insulin. We're not pulling it to fat stores, your body's using it. So those are two important things that you can do if you're not able to fast. I think fiber is very, very important, and I think the benefiber is fine to take, but when you get fiber from like broccoli or cauliflower, it really kind of scrubs your colon on the way down, and so that's why it's beneficial in preventing colon cancer. It's because it's scraping the sides of it and getting rid of it. The recommended dosage for fiber in America is 25 grams, I think, a day. In Europe, it's 75. Yeah. So pretty significant. I actually have a fiber at my office that we sell that has pre and probiotics in the fiber that you can do. And I think that they sell that at the vitamin shop here in town, or the Nutrition Factory. I think they have a fiber that's like that. But anything else? Any other questions? Well, thanks so much for having me.